Yes, Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi. It's an environmental song. With a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. I should have been dancing to this. I forgot to be dancing in front of the camera. I love some environmental hippie music. It's all good to me. You don't know what you got till it's gone. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. What does that have to do with animism as a religion? Well, quite a bit. Obviously, that's why I'm playing this song. Right? Today we're going to take a look at animism, and we're going to take a look specifically at the cultural impact of animism. An anthropologist might say what? Anthropologist. Right? An anthropologist, the first thing that an anthropologist is going to focus on, I'm going to give this like 6 stars. I can't give this enough stars. I'm going to give it so many freaking stars. It's ridiculous. Is that animism is polytheistic. Let's say polytheism, right? Animism is an example of polytheism. What is polytheism? Like a polygon, right? A polygon has many sides, and an ism is a belief. And so polytheism, very simply, is the belief that there are many gods. And this makes sense because if you believe that all natural objects and animals have these spirits and sort of exist in the spirit realm, then you would believe that there would be many, many gods because there's so many spirits, right? Waterfalls, trees, animals, right? And all of these things would have a godlike spirits or a spirit realm to them. And so it only makes sense that an anthropologist would say, look, culturally, if you live in a culture that is animist, you're going to believe that there are many, many gods. And what is the impact of this? Right? That's kind of where we want to focus our energy. What's going to be the impact of this type of thinking? Well, the song I played, A Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell, it's an environmental song. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot, and she's kind of, the lyrics of the song, she's bummed out that they would pave such beautiful natural objects in order to put up a parking lot with some stores, right, to build a mall. And then if you listen to the lyrics of the song further, right, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Well, that's going to be kind of the impact of animism, believe it or not. There are some serious environmental overtones, right, in the animist religion as far as a cultural impact goes. You can't help, if you are truly an animist, you can't help but probably have some draw to environmental cause. Because the environmental overtones are pretty legit. If you believe that trees have spirits, if you believe that the animals and all of your natural objects that surround us on this earth have these spirits, then you would believe that destroying those things would literally be an assault on the spirit world and perhaps the gods that govern the spirit world. And that the gods would not look kindly upon any type of hurting of the environment. Now, obviously our modern environmentalism does not mean that if you're an environmentalist, it does not mean that you're an animist, except I'm sort of just drawing that culturally we start to see the bond between animals and humans and nature, that bond, that relationship starts to develop. All right, so it's a tri-bond between man, nature, and animals. and you start to get a tri-bond that forms. And so dating back, I mean, you could probably make the argument that because animism is the world's oldest religion, dating back to 70,000 years before Christ, that it runs deep, right? It has been passed on in a way. Some of these most basic animist beliefs have been passed on for thousands and thousands of years, and the stories and the thoughts have been shared through families and generations and generations and generations of families. And so that bond between man and animal and nature is a strong one, regardless of whether you are actually an animist or not, or whether you regard yourself as an environmentalist or not. Okay, let's see, anything else we want to focus on? Probably one last thing as a note. You start to see, and this is probably, I'm going to give this one the 3 stars, this idea of protecting natural resources, right? Which ties into the environmental overtones and the bond between man and nature, etc. But this sort of protecting your natural resources, understanding that these natural resources, in a way, we are dependent on them. And if we deplete them, right, do not deplete. If we deplete our natural resources, then we are costing ourselves some measure of our own survival, right? I think these early animists, if we go back 10,000 years ago, what was this religion really about? It was about preaching, protecting nature and protecting the natural resources, because 10,000 years ago, as we've talked about numerous times, right, your food, your water supply, your shelter, everything, there weren't factories making this stuff, right? Like, humans depended on those natural resources around them, and really valued trying to protect those resources and not deplete them, because that, of course, could literally cost them their own survival. And so animism is sort of a natural extension out of that. I think from a sociological point of view, which we'll get into tomorrow, we'll get into more tomorrow, we start to see that religion at its core does form a social purpose, right? It does sort of provide us some social underpinnings. And with animists, certainly the social underpinning was, hey guys, we got to protect these natural resources. We depend on these resources for survival. And so the religion is sort of a natural extension out of that desire. Okay, great. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll get more into the sociology of religion tomorrow. Adios.